Good afternoon. Thank you for watching our live briefing for Tuesday, July 21st. Sure has been a long week so far for Tuesday. I'm going to share some updates with you. Then Glenn Kemp from Security has some information to share. And then Chaplain Jenny Tavelda has scripture and prayer for us. Quick look at the COVID situation in Virginia. We have about 937,000 individuals have been tested so far, 20,000 new since yesterday or over the overnight, which I think is the most overnight yet, and part of the reason why results are taking a long time. We're at 79,371 cases up by nearly 1,000, and that's one of the biggest increases to date as well. Positivity rate for the Commonwealth of Virginia is at 7.7. It's trending up for about the last 7 to 10 days. Henrico is at 5.0, and the trend is flat, kind of up a day, down a day, but overall it's flat. Chesterfield County is at 6.9% and trending down, and Richmond's at 6.3 and pretty much flat over time. Same thing for the last 10 days or so. It's just up a couple days, down, but overall it's flat. Hospitalizations in the Commonwealth, we've had 7,297 people hospitalized total. Currently, there's 1,189 in the hospital, 258 of those are in the ICU. And that's probably something that's concerning. It's the highest number of people in the hospital for about 6 or 7 weeks. So we're seeing that hospital rate go way back up, which is it's part of lots of new cases. Let me change gears now and talk about the point prevalence survey that's been underway here for the last couple days. I want to thank everyone, both staff and residents, for your cooperation, your assistance, and your positive attitude. This point prevalence survey could have been a horribly negative event, but because of your efforts and your attitude and honestly the kind and professional nature of the Virginia National Guardsmen and women, the PPS event has gone great. And so thank you for everything. Thank you for your participation. As of noon today, I haven't heard anything since, but as of noon, the National Guard had tested about 560 staff and 714 residents for a total of about 1,275 total tests. They were continuing to test since. They continue and will continue till about 5:30 or so. They'll wrap up today. We do have a number of residents and staff who are off campus and away, either on leave or away from the campus for the night, and another group of independent living residents who are in quarantine. And so we'll be looping back around to make sure we get everyone into the counts as they return and as we get their results back from quarantine. We'll get a good number, and I think we'll get close to 100%. At that point, once we get everybody tested, then we will determine what we're going to do from there. We got a couple days here when we'll close the loop and get everybody accounted for. We don't know yet exactly how long the results will take to come back. The National Guardsmen have been saying 4 to 6 business days, but they don't know for sure. So I think we should expect at least a week and probably 2 before we'll get the results back. We expect that we'll get what's called a line listing with everyone's information coming back to us, but we don't know exactly how that's going to work. The other thing we don't know for sure is who's going to be contacting those staff or residents who test positive. We don't know if it'll be us or if it'll be the Virginia Department of Health, but we'll get that clear here in the next couple of days, and I will share more information as soon as I have it. Hopefully by Thursday we'll know exactly what that process is going to be, but I'll get it to you as soon as I know. Now for the COVID-19 cases on campus. Let me give you a little bit of an update. So if you were watching our live briefing last Thursday, you'll recall that I came back up after I was done and I announced that we had a CNA, we have a CNA, who works on our Parsons Health Center first floor, whose test result had come back positive. That individual was tested as part of our routine weekly testing. Then, so that was Thursday. Then on Friday, July 17th, we learned that a resident on that same floor, first floor Parsons Health Center, had tested positive for COVID-19. That was also part of our routine weekly testing. A little earlier today, I checked in on that resident and had a conversation. He's doing well. He was sitting up eating his lunch, and we chatted for a minute. The nurses tell me he has some mild symptoms, but he's doing okay, and so that's hopeful. And we're waiting on a set of results for all of the other residents on that floor, and most have come back negative. We don't have all of them back yet, and there wasn't any new positives in that group. But we're still waiting on a few. So that's what we knew as of Friday. Then yesterday, Monday, July 20th, we learned of a Genesis rehab employee, a licensed physical therapy assistant that has tested positive also as part of our routine weekly testing. That individual's home and in quarantine and recovering. I understand that individual does have some symptoms and is home. So more to come, and we will continue with this for a while, I'm afraid. Next, I'd like to give you an update on a quick update on the other two residents that were recovering in Parsons Health Center. These are the two residents on the second floor who tested positive a couple weeks ago. They were tested a second time, I think last week, and those results have come back, and they both continued to test positive. One of them is asymptomatic and appears recovered. To everyone who knows her, she's her old self, and that's great. The second, who we quite honestly had been pretty worried about, is slightly improved. I checked in on her today, both of them today, and she definitely looks better, and the nurses tell me she's talking and sitting up and eating and that sort of thing. So just a blessing, because we were very worried, all of us. We also have, additionally, we have 5 employees who are home in quarantine awaiting results because they had some kind of a symptom, diarrhea, cough, shortness of breath, loss of smell, whatever. But we're waiting on those results. So that's a lot of information, I realize that. So let me just quickly summarize where we are. Since March, when this thing started, we've had 6 residents test positive. 3 of them are currently recovering in our Parsons Health Center. We've had 19 employees test positive. 7 of those remain off campus recovering. The situation, as I just said a few minutes ago, it's very fluid. Every day there's something new. And I think we, as a community, we should expect to find more asymptomatic employees or perhaps residents as part of this PPS survey. We should not be surprised if we find some more virus as part of this survey. That's why we did it, is we want to make sure we know where everybody who's sick or asymptomatic is, and we can get them quarantined and sort of start fresh. Again, we appreciate everybody's participation. It's really important. If you feel any symptoms, please let the nurses know. For staff, if you feel anything, stay home, get tested, and we're here to support you. Last thing before I turn it over to Glenn, this Thursday at our next live briefing, we will share a financial update, and we will provide you with the details about our upcoming budget, and as part of that, we'll spend a few minutes talking about resident fees and the increases for next year. So thank you for your time today. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for for your really positive attitude as it relates to our event here with the National Guard. It went better than we all hoped, and that's in large part thanks to you. So thank you very much. Here's Glenn.
Thank you, John. I have two quick yet important messages for you. First of all, I want to bring to your attention a new twist to an old scam. There are callers calling residents claiming to be from the Social Security office. Most of the time you didn't have to answer the phone, and whoever the caller was wouldn't leave a message. Well, now these scammers are leaving a message on your voicemail to call a number back. I just want to remind you, of course, do not call this number back. It is a scam. Social Security will only contact you through the mail. They will only correspond with you through the mail. The second message I want to tell you about is the Azalea Lot activity that John talked about on Thursday. There was no activity on Friday evening or over the weekend. This doesn't mean that there won't be continued activity over at the Azalea Lot. I would like to encourage you to continue to call Henrico County's non-emergency line, their police non-emergency line. That number is 501-5000. If you should experience any activity over at that parking lot, the local precinct is very aware of the situation, and we anticipate that they will respond very quickly. With that being said, I'd like to bring up Jenny from Pastoral Care.
Good afternoon. Please join us for worship on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. live on TV 970. Reverend Dr. Lynn McClintock will preach, and Reverend Deacon Logan Augustine will lead worship. We know that the past few days have been stressful with the point prevalence survey happening on campus. There's been a feeling of anxiety both for having to take the test and awaiting the results for our community. But the experience has been an opportunity for us to keep each other safe as a community, another way for us to care for and love one another in these difficult days. Your pastoral care team will continue to pray for good results and the health of our whole community. Right now, I invite you to be reminded of God's continual presence and peace, to at least momentarily let go of the tension of the past days, to take a deep breath and rest for a moment in God's presence. Hear these words from Psalm 62. For God alone, my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall never be shaken. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. A prayer by St. Aidan of Lindisfarne. Please pray with me. Leave me alone with God as much as may be. As the tide draws the waters close in upon the shore, make me an island, set apart, alone with you, God, holy to you. Then, with the turning of the tide, prepare me to carry your presence to the busy world beyond, the world that rushes in on me, till the waters come again and fold me back to you. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Please join us for our next update on Thursday at 3 o'clock.